Okay, here we go. I think we're good. I think we're set. I know you guys are busy and reserving this time, so I don't want to go over too much. So we're going to jump right in. First of all, I just want to tell you thank you for jumping on here. Like I said, I know that you have valuable time, you have family and other stuff you could be doing, but you've taken the time out to hop on this hop on this webinar. So I just want to say thanks, and I appreciate your time, and I will deliver because you're giving me that time. So here's what's going to happen tonight. Guys, I'm going to deliver the best that I possibly can in about 60 minutes because I know for some of you it's getting kind of late. At the end, I'm going to show you how you can go deeper with me if you choose to. If not, totally fine. I'm going to deliver anyway. And at the end, there will be a link to get your free gift, which is a special spreadsheet I use to evaluate my deals, if that's what you're on here for. So either way, no matter what, I just appreciate you being on here. Hey, Dan, what's going on, buddy? All right, let's jump in. Guys, my promise to you is that I'll show you how to achieve financial freedom and time freedom. I'm actually going to minimize the comments, guys, so I won't be able to see the comments for a while. I will take questions later, or at least as many as I can once I get through this, but I want to make sure that you guys can see the full screen, so I'm going to minimize that for a bit. But my promise to you is that I'll show you the tool that I know, the tool that I have found to reach financial freedom, and something that's making a tremendous impact and difference in my life, and what I see making a difference in a ton of my friends and associates. So I know that real estate works. There's no gimmick about it. It works, it's proven, and I'm going to show you some of my strategies and what I do. And if you stay until the end, I will give you my secret profit analyzer. For those of you that want to get into real estate, but maybe you're kind of afraid of how to evaluate a deal, and you don't really know like what to look for and how to evaluate the numbers and all that kind of stuff, that's going to be given to you totally free. So from here on out, you can use that, and you're going to be able to evaluate a deal in all of about 5 minutes versus having to guess at it, basically. So if you would, please make sure all of your devices are turned off, your cell phones, Facebook, and anything else. And if you are really serious about at least taking interest in real estate, if you're not already, I just ask that you give yourself the respect of not being distracted by other things. It's really easy to be distracted, trust me, I know, but what I have here to present to you guys can change your life if you allow it to. So that will be your option. All right, let me tell you a little bit about myself. For those of you that maybe don't know me very well yet, my last 2 jobs before real estate, I was working as a grocery manager, and then my job after that was working at a factory. I never worked, or I should say I hardly ever worked less than 60 hours a week. When I was at the factory, I had weeks where I was working 80 hours or over. I think my top was like 82 or 84 hours. And it was insane. I remember at one point they were asking us to work 16-hour days. And I was looking at all the guys around me, all these older guys that had been there for decades, and I'm like, man, that is not the life that I want to live. These guys looked beat up. They were not that much older than I was, but they looked decades older. I mean, they were beat down from life and from their job, and that was not the life I wanted. So I decided to put myself on a completely different path. I was always broke no matter how many hours I worked or how hard I worked. Who can relate to that? I never had time for my family between work and needed sleep. When I was at the factory, there was times where literally I would have my day off, and when I woke up in the morning, I would come down to the couch, I would have a conversation with my wife, and next thing I know, I was falling asleep on the couch or on the floor, and I'd sleep again for another 4 hours or so, and then I'd get up later, try to do something, and like I never even had the energy because so much of my time or so much of my energy was zapped from my work life, and that's just not the way that we should be living. I filed bankruptcy in my late 20s and nearly lost my house in my early 30s. We were in pre-foreclosure. I had to sell some of my possessions just to keep our house from going into foreclosure. So I know what it's like. I've been there. But one thing is, I simply knew that I could do more. I just needed an answer. I needed the path, right? I knew that I've always known that I could be more, that I could amount to more, but I needed something in my life to put myself into, to invest my time and my energy into. That's a picture of me at the factory, put on here slaving away. So I worked in the heavy steel stuff, so I was slinging that kind of stuff around all day long. Even though I was bigger and a lot hotter then, I was broke. All right, so after real estate, I spent 7 years in real estate and have flipped hundreds of houses. I really don't know how many I've flipped. You know, when I hear people say they flipped like 1,000 houses or 400, you know, that's when I get skeptical, because once you pass dozens or 100 or whatever, how in the world do you keep track at that point? I'm certainly not keeping track on a chalkboard. So all I know is I've flipped hundreds of houses. I really don't know how many I've done. I'm the author of How to Become a Wholesale Millionaire. I currently own a multi-million-dollar rental portfolio that grows by a couple houses each and every month. We went from bankruptcy and near foreclosure to now a real estate millionaire, teaching others to do the same thing. My goal, which I will have in about 2 to 2.5 years, will be 100 nice single-family homes. I don't invest into junk. I like nice quality stuff, including my investments. And so within about 2 to 2.5 years, that will be roughly $12 to $13 million worth of real estate. All from that just 7 years ago. So it's pretty cool what real estate can do for you. All right, so let me ask you, you have all the financial freedom and time freedom you could ever want. What it would be like if you never had to worry about making mistakes or losing money ever again? What will life be like when you know how to start flipping houses for big profits part-time, even without experience, money, or credit? How about when you start flipping houses regularly for $20,000, $30,000, and $40,000 profits? Will that make a difference for you and your family? All right, I know that this can make a difference because it happened to me when I started into real estate. I started into rental properties, which I would highly encourage not to do. We need to learn how to create the cash, because cash solves problems. But I started into rental properties backwards, and after about a year to year and a half, I saw what kind of looked like a doom and gloom type of end to my real estate career. We were getting very highly leveraged. We had about a dozen rental properties at that time. We had no cash reserve whatsoever, and any kind of mistake that came up, our cash flow was completely eaten up. How you guys seeing everything okay so far? Just want to make sure. Please give me a thumbs up or a heck yeah, I'm here. All good. All right, cool. All right, so I know that 20 and 30 and $40,000 profits are possible, and they are possible for you, and it's my mission tonight to show you how. Here's some proof of some of the deals I did and actually have going on right now, and I have the addresses up here. I know there's people that are skeptical, so I want to just actually show the proof. You guys can research it, whatever you want. That's totally your call. This one was purchased from an auction for $77,000. I spent $17,000 on the rehab, and we currently have a contract pending for $135,000. We got an offer on it before the house was even done, and we're looking at about a $27,000 profit on that one. That should be closing about mid-May. This was actually the beginning picture. That's why there's still the auction posters on the window. This one was last year, late summer. We purchased this one off the MLS for $62,000. Our rehab costs were roughly $45,000. We sold it for $162,000, so we sold it for $100,000 over what we bought it for. It was pretty cool. And we had about $35,000 profit on this one. This was last summer as well. Purchased this one off the MLS for $75,000. Rehab costs were $20,000. Sold it for $139,900. A profit of roughly $27,500. This one is 3200 Southeast 20th. We purchased this one from an elderly lady for $80,000. You know, she was in a retirement center. She was running out of running out of her budget to pay the cost of living or whatever it is they're due, and so she had to sell this quickly. I got a referral from actually my foundation guy and purchased this house. Like I said, $80,000, put $10,000 into it. Sold it first day on the market for $144,500, which is about $37,000 profit. This one last year, 4236 Southeast 6th Street. Purchased this one from an auction. Rehab costs of $12,500. Sold for $108,500. Profit of about $22,000. This one here, 1215 Porter, purchased from a wholesaler for $71,000. put about 25,000 into it, sold it for 135 the first day for about a $22,000 profit. You can see here that my numbers are accurate because the 71 plus 25 does not equal 135, does not equal your factoring in $22,000 profit does not equal the 135. That's because I'm factoring in my selling costs, my holding costs, my financing costs, all that stuff. So this is not HGTV type of numbers. This is real life. So what it looks like it could be a bigger profit, that's reality. This one here, purchased off the MLS for $77,000, rehab cost of $15,000, sold for $119,000 for about a $12,000 profit. So what's one thing that you guys see that I have in common with these houses? Because we're short on time, I'm going to just tell you, but one thing that you should see in common is that they have a similar, except for that one's a little bit different, they have a similar kind of look, right? They're a similar type of house. And that's something I'm going to talk about, is finding the type of house that you're comfortable with and a niche that you can immerse yourself into. Because one thing you don't want to do is be hunting around for anything that could be a deal. And when I teach wholesalers how to wholesale, I always tell them, when you go out to recruit your buyers, that's one thing you're going to hear over and over again, is they always say, hey, anything that's a deal, I'll take. That's not the way to do it. You need to discover what type of property you want to be flipping and investing in, because it makes your whole life and everything so much easier, and that's how you can do deals so much quicker, because you are able to filter through all of your searches much, much faster and easier. All right, if I just stop there, guys, that's roughly about $180,000 worth. But the truth is, that's just a fraction of what I did last year. I'm not sure. I think I ended up doing like roughly 60 deals last year. I'm not exactly sure where I ended up. But I currently do about 4 to 5 of these every single month. And I'm in a position now to where I don't really need cash all the time. Sometimes, or actually a lot of times, we're throwing them into the rental portfolio now. But we still keep flipping. So in fact, right now, I have, I think, about 8 houses that we're working on that will lead to about $195,000 profit, and that's just what we're working on right now. That doesn't count everything that we're going to get in April, May, June, July, all the way through the rest of the year. That's $195,000 projected profit just off of what we're working on right now. Pretty cool. Would you be okay with an income of $200,000 per year working less than full-time hours? I want to be totally transparent. In the beginning, it takes more time. All right, I would be lying to you if I didn't tell you that. In the beginning, it takes more time. But the point is to build your skills to become better so that you can work less and be more profitable. All right, I developed my system in a way to where I can now do it in about 20 to 25 hours a week. I can honestly do it in much less if I choose to, but I actually love what I do, so therefore I spend more time on it than what I probably have to. What kind of trips could you take if you used flipping houses for that? This is where we're going here another month. In April, we have a little trip lined up for La Jolla, California. Simply because we can, guys, because we can. We can pick up, we can go on a trip. I don't have anybody holding me back. I don't have a job telling me I can't go. I don't have somebody telling me when I could take vacation time, and I'm not limited based off of expenses. So we can pick up and travel when we choose to, and that's something that my wife and I decided we're going to do a lot more of starting this year, that we want to be taking at least quarterly trips. Just to get out, to start exploring and start enjoying life. We worked hard, and now it's time to start, truly enjoying life again. But think about that. If you make a $20,000 or $30,000 profit, you're talking like, I mean, this trip is going to cost us $4,000. $4,000, $4,500. A $20,000 profit can allow you to take either one, an amazing elaborate vacation, something like this, the Atlantis, Bahamas, or it can allow you to take several of these per year off of one deal. That's how amazing it is. What if flipping houses allowed you to start improving your personal home? So this is one that we bought last year. We bought this as a probate. We bought this house for $90,000. I'm not sure exactly how much our expenses are that we put into it. It appraised for $240,000 just earlier this year. So now we have roughly about $100,000 equity in our house, and we upgraded our house by about 1,000 square feet. So that was pretty cool. It's nice when we can upgrade our lifestyle and we still have great deals along the way that are helping us do that. What could you do for your family if you use flipping houses for that? You can maybe slow life down a little bit, spend more time with your kids. If you didn't have a job to go to, if you didn't have a place demanding that you be at, otherwise you're fired and you lose your way to pay for your lifestyle. Make sure you don't miss any important events and activities. You could maybe stop the morning rush. I hate the morning rush, guys. I seriously hate it. So, and I used to be in this mindset that I have to be trying to wake up earlier than other people and do more and be more. I sleep in now. I sleep in until I have to take my daughter to school. I take her to school, I go work out, and then I start my day. So I'm not starting my day until about 10:30 to 11 o'clock. And I enjoy that. There's some people that say, to be successful, you have to be waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I think that's crazy. So I would much rather sleep in, get my sleep, enjoy my life, and do what I love for a living all at the same time. And be able to enjoy your nights and weekends without dreading the next day. That's one thing I used to hate about my job was Sunday night. Who can relate to the Sunday night dreaded, like I have to get up for work the next day? There's a lot of people in that position, and I'm just thankful that I don't have to even think those thoughts anymore. When it's summer vacation, I get to spend more time with my daughter without worrying about having to be in bed to go to work the next day. Or when it's a holiday and everybody's celebrating and then they got to wake up, go to work the next day, I don't. So that's some of the things that flipping houses can do for you. I want to be totally transparent. Results are not typical. I'll walk you through the system that I use to get the results that I get, but please understand that my results are not typical simply because the average person who attends any kind of training simply doesn't take action. So that's up to you whether you want to get results or not. However, I'm happy to share with you for free exactly what's working for me. And I just want to make sure everybody knows this is not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not any kind of work-at-home, biz-op type of business. We are not here to promote getting rich for doing nothing. It's not how I do things. What we will cover, we're basically going to be covering 3 things that are broken down into different steps during this training. Secret number 1 is you can flip houses using other people's money, and you should use it. Secret number 2 is you can flip houses for big profits in as little as 4 to 6 hours a week. And secret number 3 is you can flip houses for big profits without any experience and without worry of mistakes. Who's with me so far? Can I get a I'm here? Everybody doing good? All right, cool, still good. All right. Let's move on. So you can borrow from private investors that want to lend money on houses to flip. There is more money available to you than you can ever utilize. When I'm starting out with somebody, and especially like one of my coaching clients, that's one of the first things I try to get them to understand. And sometimes it's really tough to get through that mindset because most of us don't grow up with money being an easy thing to attain, right? We're taught that money doesn't grow on trees. We're taught that it's just not given to you, and we're taught all these lies about money. Reality is there's more money available to us than anything else. There's more money than there are deals. There's more money than there are contractors. There's more money than there is houses. There's more money than there is anything else. There's $4 trillion circulating the earth every single day. And to flip a house, depending on where you're from, it might cost you $100,000. It might cost you $50,000. It might cost you $500,000. That's if you're living in an expensive part of the country. But the money is the easiest part of the deal. So I want to ask you something. If you were to find a house tomorrow, and through a certain strategy, and you found a house that has a value of let's just say $100,000, and you found it for $40,000. Do you think that by going through all of your friends and family that you would be able to find somebody that would be interested in trying to make that work with you? I'm willing to bet that almost every single person on this call could find the money. So money is not the issue. The issue is usually the confidence to ask for the money or the belief that it's there. Finding money for your deals is actually the easiest part of the transaction. There are tons and tons of hard money lenders and private lenders that want to lend you money. There are people that are in the business, and I know there's a lot of people on this call that are probably just as maybe even experienced as I am, maybe more, but there's other people that are very new to this, so I want to kind of explain some of these basics. There's what's called hard money lenders, where that's what they do, is they lend money on distressed real estate. They lend money on real estate types of projects. So trying to raise money for a deal is not hard, right? You have to find those contacts, of course, which really isn't that hard to do. But once you find those contacts, they want to lend you the money because that's the business that they're in. It's like trying to find a banker that wants to lend you money, or it's like trying to find a realtor that wants to list your properties. It's the same thing. They're in that business, and they want your business for them to stay in business. All right, so it's not hard to find that money. All right, so there's some different sources of funding you should be aware of, and I'm going to go over some of these so I can explain how sometimes you can just get a little bit creative, but there's so much money out there and so many different sources of it. So the first, and honestly what I use hard money on just about everything, simply for the reason that it's the easiest. All right, so like I actually sent a text message to one of my hard money lenders today. So we acquired a deal last week. I knew it was a good deal, so I wasn't even in a rush to ask for it. And I sent my hard money lender a text this afternoon, and I said, hey, I got this deal tied up. Looks like we're probably gonna be closing in about 30 days. Here's the specifics. Here's what I bought it for. Here's what I expect the rehab to be. Is this something you can finance? Within 5 minutes, I get a text back that says definitely. And then he even noticed something about it that I didn't even notice yet. That there's actually an extra lot connected to it. So he was kind of asking if I was going to be building an extra house on that other lot. So when you can find those relationships, raising the money, super easy. And then there's private money. So private money can be anybody. So that can be family members. That can be your neighbor. It could be doctors, dentists. It's anybody that has money that would be interested in earning a return on their investment, right? That's it. So literally everybody that you know, in my opinion, is a private money lender, because I want to talk to everybody. I want to make sure everybody that I know knows what I do, because it might not be them that has the money, but it certainly might be somebody that they know, or somebody in their network. So by looking at it from that perspective, on average, people in their 30s, 40s, I think they say that we know an average of like 2,000 people or something. And then of course those 2,000 people plus all their networks, it's unlimited. It's unlimited. The amount of money out there is just it's crazy. There's partnerships with people with good credit and cash. So partnerships is what I did for about the first 2 years of business, exclusively partnerships, because one, I was new, two, I had terrible credit and I had no money. So my only option was to become creative. And so I simply surrounded myself and attached myself to people that had the resources that I needed, right? It's pretty self-explanatory. So I had one partner at the beginning. We were in business for I think about 1.5 years, and things went great. And then it got to the point where I had enough experience. I wanted to go out on my own, but I still didn't really have the money or credit built up. I just had the experience built. So from there, I went and attached myself to another partner, and it wasn't a formal partnership, but this guy had a ton of money and like multi-millionaire, and so I knew that he was in the business, so I simply went and created basically a partnership with him, and from there we flipped dozens of deals together with a 50-50 split and him earning a little bit of interest. So that got me through the next couple years. So just using partnerships and other people's resources of cash, of credit, of whatever, banking relationships, can allow you to do that. That's probably one of the easier ways to get off the ground. A HELOC, a home equity line of credit. So some people may not have a ton of cash sitting around, but they might have equity in their home. So if they have $100,000 equity in their house, or maybe they have their house paid off and they realize that they could get a good return, or you guys do a profit split on a deal and you guys make a $25,000 profit. They take out a home equity line on their home. You guys rehab the house, you make $25,000 profit, you guys split it down the middle, you guys both walk away with $12,000. They replenish their home equity line, they pay it off, boom, you got them back to do another one after that because you just made the money. So you can do those over and over and over again. IRAs and 401ks, we've done several of these where we have people that have taken out cash from their 401ks or self-directed IRAs, and they invest into our business for either return or a profit split. And then, of course, credit cards, cash, stocks, etc., anything that is liquid, anything that can be liquidated can also be used as some form of funding. So there's no end to the type of creativity you can put together. It simply comes down to, do you want to do it, and do you believe that it's possible? So I'm showing proof that there's tons of sources of funding out there, and finding the money will never ever be a problem if you're finding a quality deal. The only time money becomes a problem is when you're not locking up a good deal. And what I tell people is, if you get turned down for trying to raise money, it just means you don't have a good enough deal. That's really all it means. All right. So say to yourself right now, I don't have to personally have money to invest in real estate. All right, secret number 2, you can flip houses for big profits in as little as 4 to 6 hours per week. Get a drink right here real quick. How's everybody doing? Everybody good? All right, secret number 2, it doesn't have to take much time unless you want it to, or unless you want to go bigger. If you want to go bigger and you want to build it into a multiple million-dollar business, and you want to scale and you want to just go nuts with it, of course it's going to take more time, but it doesn't have to live a great life and to have a great lifestyle. Most aspiring real estate investors think it takes a lot of time to find houses and to be at the house with the contractors. That's false. I do recommend in the beginning that you spend more time at the houses so that you can familiarize yourself with the process, but you don't have to. That is optional. It is just recommended so that you learn the process and you understand what's going on, so you build some rapport with the contractors, stuff like that. The majority of the time will go into finding the quality deals. So what I've seen happen, there's 2 different ways that I've seen people go about it. One is they find the deal, they find a deal or 2, and then they're out working on the houses with the contractors. They're kind of playing the general contractor role and even contractor role, and they're out there working on the houses. And that's fine, that's totally cool. Problem is, if you do it that way, you will be limited to how many deals you do per year. So you can't be working on the houses and excel at finding great deals. So, and then the other part of the equation is, if you spend more time working on finding the deals and less time working on the houses. So with that, if you go with that side, you're likely going to be making a little bit smaller profit because you're going to be putting more of it into your contractor's scope of work. But at the same time, you're going to be able to do many more deals because you're out working on putting deals together, finding money, finding quality deals, finding more contractors, stuff like that. So I've seen both sides of it, and and I actually used to do the first side. I used to do that more. I used to be out at the houses a lot, and it got to the point where I almost kind of had to start pulling back because I started getting really good at finding deals that every time I was out at the houses, I was missing something. I was missing another deal. So I'm like, you know what? I just need to get really good at it. I need to pull myself out of these deals. I need to hold my contractors responsible for getting the stuff done, but I need to be working on the business side and actually developing, my network and excelling at finding deals and raising money, stuff like that. And that's when I started looking at from that side, my business pretty much exploded, and it hasn't stopped since. So now, I was actually at one of my houses today. We got a deal about a week and a half ago, and we bought it from an auction. It came with the owners in it, and long story, but I actually kind of knew the people. So I was kind of waiting for them to get out. Anyway, we got them out. I think it was like Monday. Had my attorney send a letter over. Got them out pretty quickly. So we actually went through there today. And I truly want to like be over there at the house doing stuff because I enjoy it and it's fun, and like I want to be tearing carpet out and tearing cabinets off the wall, stuff like that. But it just doesn't pay, right? So once I get the quote from the contractor and he's telling me what it's going to cost, I'm like, man, like it doesn't make sense for me to be there when I can go find 3 to 5 more deals next month that's going to make another 100 grand. It doesn't make sense for me to be at the house. All right, so here's how we can start keeping our time down and do this as a part-time business. One is hire the contractors to handle the work for you. So what I did in the beginning is, I would hire the contractors, but I would also be at the house doing a lot of stuff. So I'd always be there like cleaning up after them and sweeping, and I'd be, caulking trim and sometimes painting and, handling material, moving stuff around for them. But it finally got to a point where the most that I could possibly do was about 5 deals at a time. And doing that, because I was helping them out so much, I was running around like crazy. I was truly just working another job. I was making way better money, but I was just working another job because I couldn't get myself out of the houses. And then, I went to a seminar, and the guy was talking about, kind of carrying buckets, and that we will be limited the more that we will be limiting ourselves by the more that we do. So I just got to a point where I'm like, what, I just need to fire myself from that position and get to a point where I say, what, I'm never picking up a broom again. I'm not gonna ever hang a light again. I'm not gonna do anything. Not because I don't want to, because I truly do, but I needed to make the contractors accountable for the job. And if they knew that I was going to be there sweeping and taking care of things, then they would count on that. And I would never be able to scale at all. I'd never be able to get myself out of the houses. So I eventually just had to make that decision, and it was probably the best decision I've ever made, because now they stay on the job. They don't get paid until they're truly 100% done with the job. They don't get their last draw until we are 100% done. And I'm not there like helping and checking on things constantly. I'm able to go each house. I probably visit usually about once a week. I swing by once a week, check on it, and then on Fridays a lot of times I'm going around to the house. I'll get people paid stuff, and I don't even have to do that. Like I can set it up in a way to where it's almost all automated, but I think we kind of have to find our place that we just like to be at, and I truly like that part of it, so I do spend some time there. With a good contract, it keeps them on budget and on time. So in the beginning, for the first several years, I never had contracts. And even though I really like almost never got burned, because I feel like I'm pretty good at working with people and reading people, so I never hired people that were going to screw me, but it happens. In fact, one of my friends on his very first rehab, he, the contractor asked him for a $9,000 deposit. And he gave him that deposit with no work being done, and then he calls me up like a couple 2 or 3 days later, and he says, Mark, what am I going to do? He's like, I can't get a hold of this guy. He's like, I gave him $9,000 as a deposit. What, how do I get a hold of him? I'm like, dude, he's gone. There is no getting a hold of him. That money is gone, because he didn't have a contract in place, and he fronted this contractor a big chunk of money before any work was done. That's not how you do it. You got to play it smart and have have your draws in place, have your contract in place, because if nothing else, it protects you and it protects them. It holds them accountable. And if you ever have to fire a contractor or let them go or anything else, you have that contract to kind of be like the safety net of everything. They also get the house looking top notch while you enjoy life. So like I said, you can be on the house, you can spend the time working on it, but if that's your gift, then go for it, go do it. But for most of us, that's not our gift, and a qualified contractor can do it better. So there's really no point in being on the job site. Contracting can be hard work. You might as well let them do it. And that's probably another reason why I just quit, because I'd be coming home at the end of the day, back hurting, knees hurting from getting up and getting down all the time. I'm like, man, like I need to I want to be able to do this for a long time. I want to save my body to where I don't get completely burned out for working on the houses. So here's how you can recruit a good contractor. Place a specific high-producing ad to attract quality contractors. So I have an ad that I place whenever I get to a point of needing more contractors, and every time I place that ad, it brings in dozens of contractors, and I literally mean dozens. Like, I get so many calls and texts and emails that I usually end up canceling the ad because I don't want that many coming in that I have to respond to. Another way that I do it, that I find contractors, is I simply just keep an ongoing, like a notepad in my phone. So when I'm driving by, to Home Depot or wherever, and I see some, an electrician or a plumber, in their van, or I see some roofers on the side of the road or whatever, I go up and I make contact, or if nothing else, I jot that number down into my phone and I call them later. I start to nurture that relationship, and I plug them into my spreadsheet so that I never ever want to be in a place of not having my contractors, having contractors that are ready to go. So I am always building a list. Have your material selection figured out ahead of time. So one super easy way, if you've never been, have never had to flip a house or never had to pick out materials, really easy way to do this, guys, is find the guys that are the best in your market, or guys and gals. Find the guys that are the best in your market, or go to the new construction sites and see what they're doing, because they have to be kind of on the cutting edge in order for people to want to buy the houses. So look and see what they're doing for color schemes. Look and see what they're doing for materials. Doesn't mean you have to use as much of an upgrade, because for most of us that flip, we're flipping more basic houses. But look at their color schemes. What kind of materials are they using? Is it frisé carpet, or is it plush carpet? Are they using grays or beiges? And just simply going out and looking at it tells you very quickly what the style is, what the new in thing is. And then you go to Home Depot or you go to Lowe's or something like that, and you simply go through and you start picking out similar materials. Very, very simple. This really isn't rocket science. It's just knowing what other people are doing that's working. Let's see, it's contract. Check on the house every other day. If you're newer, I recommend checking on it every day, every other day. But your inspections are should probably only take 10 minutes. 20 minutes maybe if you have to like yell at the contractor, but it really should only take like 10 minutes, because you're going in, you're checking to make sure that progress is being made and that you feel like you're on track for the deadline. You're using your checklist, checking things off, and you're gone. All right, so it's not going to the house and spending hours per day. It's not necessary. It should take about 10 minutes. I like to do one main walkthrough in the beginning, and that basically builds the scope of work for the contractor. And so we come to an agreement. We get a contract signed, the first week, and then at the end, at the very end, I'm doing a walkthrough with a checklist and making sure that every single thing that we talked about is done, and making sure the doors close well, making sure the faucets run well, making sure all the lights come on, making sure all the tiles done correctly. Just being having a scope of work and a checklist and going through the process to make sure that everything is done. It really is actually pretty simple. You guys have any questions at this point so far? I know I'm going kind of fast, but everything's good to go. Okay, cool. All right, let's carry on. So where are the quality deals hiding? So that's one of the questions I get a lot of right now, is people are having trouble finding the quality deals. So I'm going to go through real quick what I use. So the MLS, pretty simple, right? We're always going to use the MLS. In a very, very competitive market, the MLS becomes a lot less effective. In fact, right now, I haven't bought a property off the MLS since sometime last year. I don't even remember the last time I bought one. Because right now the banks know, the sellers know, the realtors are encouraging whoever they're listing for to list it as high as possible, because they know that the demand is there and they'll probably get an offer. So MLS, I'm not really getting anything right now. I keep making offers because I want to be in that habit. Why? Because when the market changes and we go into a position of a cold market or a buyer's market, I want to have my habit in place and be constantly making offers, because then that's when we start sucking up a ton of deals again off the MLS. So I have what's called the same daily method of operations in place, no matter if it's a hot market or a cold market. The only difference is we pull better deals off of different strategies depending on what type of market it is. All right, so online and offline auctions, this is actually where I'm getting a lot of my deals right now, is auctions. I think it's because other buyers are afraid because they can't see, sometimes they can't see inside the house, so they don't know exactly what they're getting. So I figured out a way personally to where I can evaluate the house pretty well based off of a square footage pricing, and as long as those numbers work when I project it that way, I might be off a little, I might be on a little, but even if I'm off by quite a bit, those numbers are still going to work at least somewhat beneficial. All right, so private owners. Private owners are always going to be a fantastic form of deals. Normally, private owners and the marketing is going to go together. So I do marketing, but in a hot market, what most people would say in a hot market, you actually want to increase marketing. I actually decrease my marketing a little bit because here's why. I want to be pulling my deals from other wholesalers. So I want my wholesalers to be doing the marketing. All right, I want them to be spending the money on the marketing so that I can buy the deals from them. Make sense? So why should I be out spending a ton of money on marketing if I can have wholesalers that are in the market that are doing that, and then I stay on their radar every single week? Like, I literally send text messages to my wholesalers every week asking if they have any deals. So I want to be on the radar more than anybody else. All right, and then one thing you can do is once you get to the point where you're good enough and you can start training wholesalers how to do it, and you can be training them to bring you deals. So that's why, because I have these in place, I have my daily method of operations in place where I'm making the offers every single day. I'm scouring these different websites every single day, that I always have deals going on. Right? I'm never ever in a place where I don't have at least a few deals that are being worked on. All right, so secret number 3 is you can flip houses for big profits without experience and without making costly mistakes. So let's go over this. It's about the numbers. All right, flipping houses is truly all it comes down to is having your numbers accurate and making sure that they work. You need to discover what type of house you want to flip, and you need to model what your best competition is doing. Let me explain all these in a little bit more detail. So the numbers, we need to determine the comparable sale prices which can be provided by your realtor. So these are going to be the sale prices that have happened within the market, within generally a mile radius, preferably within a half mile, and in like condition, in a similar year build, or at least within the same decade, similar square footage. And when those houses sell, those are going to be your comps that you're going to be comparing yours to. I like to be able to beat my comps, but one way you could do it to make sure that you never lose is if you can list your house at somewhere around like 92 to 95% of what the comps are, you're actually going to be listing your house a little bit lower, which is going to be more aggressive and get it to sell faster. And if you can still get the numbers to work at that point, then you absolutely cannot lose on the deal. Determine the rehab budget. And let me go backwards a little bit. So most people try to sell like as high as they possibly can. They're marking their house up like to what they, on the best day, best case scenario, that's what their house is going to sell for. Well, yes, we can sell it like that sometimes, but what usually happens, kind of depending on what type of market we're in, but a lot of times what happens is we mark it up as high as we possibly can, we put it on the market, and then it sits there. And it sits there for a month and a half, and then we reduce the sell price. And we reduce it down to the point where we should have sold it originally, and then it sells. So what I tell people is price it aggressively, price it to sell. And if you're making a $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 profit with a reduced price to sell quickly, how's that a bad thing? Yes, you might be able to sell it for $5,000 more, but you don't have to worry about it, because if your house is selling, that's all you're going to care about. Determine your rehab budget through one of my secret spreadsheets, or you can get a quote from a contractor. I'm going to try to pull this up so you guys can see it. Will you guys tell me if you can see this, please? I'm going to show it, and I'm going to minimize it, and I'm going to check the comments just to make sure that you guys are seeing it. Okay, cool. All right, so So this is actually something I made, specifically for my business, because one thing I didn't like is having different contractors that had different bids, and sometimes the prices could kind of be like all over the place. So what I did is I created a spreadsheet that has the square footage pricing of a rehab. So let's say if I have gutters that need to be done, and I need 50 feet instead of 60 feet, right? It changes my total. Now I know exactly what I'm going to be paying for my gutters. If I need 10 windows, automatically drops that price down. So this is all figured in for almost every part of the house. So, and I've had a couple coaching clients recently that started using this, and they had zero experience. I'm talking none, and they went through the house, used this, and came up with almost the exact same rehab budget as I did. So that's how having the tools in your business starting out is absolutely critical, so that you're not spending all that time trying to figure it out, right? Instead, you have the tools in place to punch in and go. So what you would do is you would take this into your market, and once you start applying it, what you would do is you would try to match my prices, because I'd be quite honest, I have good pricing because I've been doing this for a while, and I've worked my contractors down to the point where I need to have them to get to reach great profits. But if you're starting out, all you have to do is, if you get concrete at $450 a square foot instead of $350, you simply change the number, all right? Or let's say a window, if you're going to be at $300 a window instead of $280, simply change the number, all right? So then it all changes for you, and changes based off of your prices. All right, so let's determine the rehab budget through one of my secret spreadsheets. All right, enter all the info into my profit analyzer. All right, let me show this one. Rehab. Okay, so this is actually a deal that I'm working on right now. The low one I was just telling you about a few minutes ago. But with this one, we have all the numbers of what our deal is going to be, right? So we have our purchase price. This is what I bought it for. We just went and did their evaluation today. This is what the rehab is going to be, $8,000. So our total investment is going to be $85,000. Our ARV, which we can determine through the comps, right? That's what a realtor is going to provide us with those. Or we can do our own research, but I really like having a realtor that's going to provide those comps, so I know that they're accurate, I know that they're up to date. Okay, so $130,000 resale value. Closing costs, this auto-populates from down here. So our closing costs, it's cost me 6% to sell it through a realtor. If you're going to sell it by yourself, then you simply eliminate that. Abstracting, dot prep fees, attorney fees, whatever your market's going to be charging, that's what you would want to put in there. You want to change that. And then financing costs. So if you're going to be using a private lender, a hard money lender, a partnership, whatever your financing terms are going to be, if you do a partnership and you don't have any financing because you're doing a 50-50, then you simply change that. Now your financing goes to zero, and your financing up here goes to zero. And your holding costs, taxes, insurance, utilities, and then down here you could put. So let's just change. This was for a different house, but let's change it to the 8,000. And then you would have all of your numbers for each different part of the job. And at the end of the job, you can simply put all this information in of what you actually did, and then that way now you have something to look back on and compare and say, okay, well, what did I miss? What was I wrong about? And let's say it was the roof or the siding or windows or whatever. Then you can go back to this and you can change your numbers in here so that next time you're dead on the money instead of being off a little bit. All right, you guys see how easy this can be when you have the right tools in place to do it. So let's get back up to my terms are 2.5 points and 12%. But it can't do it. It can't do a point in here, so I just put it at 3. So anyway, it tells me on this project I'm going to be making roughly a $28,918 profit or a 22% return. All right, so a great deal, fantastic deal. So anyway, so that's now I know when I'm going to sell the house, I know what my profit's going to be before I even start. I know what my profit's going to be, and I actually have this, I have a Mac, so it's on my cloud. So I pull this up on my phone when I'm going through a house, both spreadsheets. When I'm going through a house, I can plug in the information, and in a matter of minutes, I know almost exactly what my profit is going to be. So there's no guessing. There's no guessing going into the equation. It's numbers, right? Because we have to know the numbers. So having tools in place makes your life way easier. All right, where are we at? Yeah, so the only variable at this point is the purchase price. Let me bring that up again. So let's say if my rehab was going to be 20,000. Okay, so if my rehab was going to be 20,000, it would say that I'm going to earn roughly about a $16,000 profit, which isn't bad, but my ROI is only at 12.37. I like to focus on hitting at least a 20. If I can't hit a 20 or at least very close to it, very high teens, I usually won't do the deal. But the only variable at this point, like we can't really get our rehab costs lower, right? Because that's what a contractor is going to be charging. That's the cost of materials. We can't really get that lower. About the only variable, and we certainly can't just say, well, I'm going to sell the house for 135 instead of 130. The comps are only going to support a certain price. So therefore, our only variable would be to drop this down. So if you drop it down to 65,000, all right, look, it raises it right back up to where we need to be, or maybe it's need to be 67 because 65 you don't think you'll get the deal. Whatever it is, but you can manipulate that, and then going into the deal when you're making your offer, you know pretty much exactly what your offer needs to be. All right, in order to make the profit that you desire. All right, pretty cool, huh? What's everybody think about that? Everybody feeling good about that? Does that make a lot of sense? All right, cool. All right. So then your niche or type of house. That's kind of what I was mentioning at the beginning. But what you can do is you can have your realtor pull a list of what's called a one-liner. And that one-liner is going to be exactly what it sounds like. It's going to be a list, a spreadsheet of one line per address. That's going to have like the MLS number on there. It's going to have the address, the price that it's sold for. You can have it say like square footage and beds and baths and stuff like that. But really the main thing is the price and the address. And what you do is you take that sheet and you can pull it for the last 30 days, the last 90 days, whatever. But you go drive those areas, and what happens is the point of it is to discover what areas of the market you want to work in. All right, because again, it gets way easier. The flipping houses and anything in real estate gets way easier when you know what type of deal that you're looking for, right? Because if I'm going to be searching, anything that could make a profit, I'm going to be spending so much time just trying to pull data and looking at numbers and looking at so many different possibilities instead of saying, I know exactly what type of deal I want to do, and because of that, I can do it in a matter of 20 minutes or 30 minutes instead of hours. All right, so you drive those areas based off the one-liner, and you're going to find out, okay, I don't really like this area because it's too rough, and I don't feel safe in it. I don't like this area or this price range because the price is too high and there's not enough opportunity in the market. And after doing that, you're going to determine what area and what type of house seems to have both the best spreads as well as the most opportunity for making profit. All right, so what I'm explaining to you guys is if I were to be dropped off in any city throughout the country, I know that I could build a business, I could be back to flipping houses and have deals going in a matter of about 30 to 60 days. And this is exactly the stuff that I would do. So it's not like, this is an option. This is stuff you should be doing. And drive those listings to determine what area, price range, and type of house you want to spend your time on. Determine the demand. You can have your realtor pull a list or what's it called, like a kind of a price comparison thing that shows the demand for the different price ranges in the market. How long they're the days on market, the DOM, how long they're on the market for, how quickly they're selling, and how much inventory there is. That's going to tell you how much demand there is for that type of house. All right, you don't want to be working on deals and in houses where there's no demand for them. So one thing I like to do is do a search on Realtor.com to see, how much, inventory is in different price ranges. Okay. So another secret. Let me grab a drink here. Is we kind of talked about this with the design, but it's modeling. All right, modeling your competition. So again, when I teach somebody new, what I don't want them to do is go out and reinvent the wheel and try to put their creative design scheme together. I've seen people do it, and I've seen some people that are uniquely creative. Let's put it nicely, and they go out and they put some really interesting concepts in place, and the stuff that they do just doesn't quite make sense. It doesn't give good flow. So instead, find the best people in your market and go model what they're doing. What kind of paint color are they using? Are they using contractor type of doors and trim? Are they is it stuff from Home Depot? Are they using tile? Are they using are they doing actual like tile granite or tile countertops? Are they doing granite countertops? Are they doing laminate? What kind of flooring are they doing? What kind of are they doing, carpet or hardwood? What's popular? So by going through your competition's houses and new construction sites, you're going to find very quickly what the look is that you need to be going for, and evaluate the color scheme, design, selection, etc. And visit your local home improvement stores and select a similar design. Very, very simple concept and very effective. So let me ask you guys a question. Are you guys enjoying the webinar so far? Everybody feel like this is good information that could actually add some value to your life? Yep, definitely. Cool. All right, guys. You guys can continue to ask any questions, but I'm going to show you how you guys can go a little bit deeper with me. This is, we're already at an hour. I knew time would be flying. So what we've covered so far is, how you can borrow from private investors that want to lend money on houses to flip. How you can flip houses for big profits in as little as 4 to 6 hours a week, and how you can flip houses for big profits without much experience based off of using the right tools. Okay. So, like I said, some of you guys are going to want to go a little bit further with me. If you already know that you want to go further, I want you to go ahead and say I'm ready in the comment box, and I'm going to show you how you can do that and what it's going to entail. But I also want to call out the people that are the action takers. That's the type of person I am, and quite honestly, that's the type of people I like to surround myself with. In fact, I remember one of the very first real estate seminars I went to. The guy was speaking from the front of the room. And this was a Rich Dad seminar, kind of like one of the first ones. And the whole time he was speaking, he'd say, "All right, if anybody's interested, you guys go ahead to the back room and get signed up." And I was the very first person, and he probably only said that once or twice. And I was already to the back of the room signing up. And the reason I say that, guys, is because it takes taking action to get results. And I'm naturally an action taker, and if you want to be successful, whether it's real estate or anything, you have to be an action taker. And even if you've failed before, even if you've bought stuff before and you haven't gone through with it, it's a new time for you, and you need to be willing to take the action. All right, so here's what I have. I literally just got done creating this. I'm absolutely pumped about it. But this is a full 30-day online course, a full membership site built out for you. And really what it is it's all of my tools that I use in my business. So, it has all the spreadsheets in it. It has like scripts, so for calling realtors, it has scripts. It has scripts for lenders. Let's see, the spreadsheets, how to go out and model, going through, we took video of going through different competitors' houses. It literally has everything in it. Step by step. And before I created it, I said, all right, if I were to do this from the very beginning all over again, what would I want to have in place, and how would I structure it to where I could be successful as fast as possible? So I broke it down, I wrote it all out, I mapped it all out on some paper, and I took those and made them into daily chunks that were digestible, and that's exactly how we came up with this. So I'm super proud of it. I'm excited at how it's going to help people. So anyways, 30-day online course helping achieve financial freedom fast without making mistakes or losing money. So here's what's entailed in it: 30 days of step-by-step video instruction. It's got my profit analyzer in it. It's got my rehab evaluator spreadsheet. It has my 7-figure acquisition process. So this is literally, it actually has my acquisition process written out of the steps I take to acquire the deals that I get. Guys, that alone, I mean, if I had to put a value on it, I'd say it's worth $100 grand, because it's turned me into a millionaire, to be quite honest. So it has my contracts, all the stuff from like all the contractors, lien waivers, the contracts, the checklist I use to go through the houses. Yeah, it has the before and after checklist. It has the daily checklist. If you're going to be going through the houses daily, it has that in there. Has all the scripts, has all the cheat sheets that I use, spreadsheets for keeping track of, you know, names, wholesalers. I mean, it literally has everything in there that you need. So, like, would it make sense to you to spend 81 cents a day to learn how to make $20,000 and $30,000 profits? Like, if I can't kind of get you to make sense out of that, we might not be on the same planet. So I kind of want to make sure you're understanding the value there. I'm also going to add 2 tickets to the Rehab School live event. This is going to actually be the first one that we're doing, and it looks like we're going to be aiming for June. So it's going to be coming up soon. Going to be an awesome event, and there we're going to be going through a lot of the same stuff, but we're also going to be going through all my current rehab projects, evaluating them, you know, looking at the profits, stuff like that, and just getting better and better and working on acquiring money as well. So if you only got that, you know, if you learned how to make, you know, $20,000 and $30,000 profits, you know, I'm sure it'd be fantastic. But I want to give you another bonus. I'm also going to do group coaching calls. So every month we're going to have a group coaching call. So whoever's going to join in is going to have a group coaching call where it's going to be me leading it, and you guys are going to be allowed to ask questions, feed off of each other, and then of course I'm going to be giving any kind of information I can to help you get better and overcome any obstacles. So I'm going to go through a few more slides, but you guys have the link at the bottom. I want you to understand this is an investment. If applied, you'll make a return on investment in the thousands, right? We're going to get to the price here in a second, but one deal, one measly deal is going to give you a return of extraordinary proportions. So the money replenishes itself, and even think about it like, you know, within another week, within another month, you're going to have made money, whether it's from working or whether it's from doing a deal or whatever, and that money will replenish itself. So bonus number 3, one more thing, we're going to have a Facebook group where we're all going to be in it. You can ask questions, and this is your chance to, it's really as close as you can get to having personal coaching with me without paying a high price tag, to where you can be asking questions anytime you want, anytime you're struggling with something, or you know, you're up against an obstacle, or you don't know, you encountered something with a realtor or whatever. Like, you know, I have some of my coaching clients that send me these emails daily, and with me being able to answer those quickly within a day or so, that solves so many issues for them, because without somebody that knows kind of what you're going through, without somebody that's been there, it's really hard to kind of know how to navigate that. But having somebody that you can count on to help you through the process, I mean, it's just an incredible value. So we have that in there as well. So here's what it looks like. The 30-day step-by-step video instruction guide that has everything in it, 2 tickets to the Rehab School live seminar, the group coaching calls, and Flip Your Way to Freedom Facebook group. Guys, this is a value of $5,432. So before we get to the price, though, I want to ask you about your habits. So some of you right now have some habits in your life that need to be broken. That might be procrastination. It might be lack of taking action. It might be watching too much TV. It might be sleeping too much. It might be, you know, it could be a million different things. But some of you have some habits that need broken. So I implore you to make this the day that you break those habits and decide that you're going to get on that next level of life, to start improving yourself so that you can start adding more value back to the market, right? Because that's where money comes from. Money comes from adding value to the marketplace, and that's it. That's the only way that we make money, is by adding some form of value. So the better that we get personally, the more valuable we become. All right, and the more valuable we become, the more we make. Very, very simple philosophy, very effective. All right, information alone will not be enough. Like if I gave you all this information, you did absolutely nothing with it. Honestly, that's not enough. It's not going to get you there. There has to be, you have to have the necessary action to get the desired results that you want. If you want to make 200,000 a year flipping houses, that's going to take roughly 10 deals a year. You're going to have to put the necessary action in place to get those results. If you want to just if you want to make 100,000, it's going to take you roughly 4 deals to make 100,000. It's still going to take a certain amount of action to get those results. All right. So money or excuses, which of these are you telling yourself right now? I'm willing to bet that those people, there's certain people, like I said from the beginning, that are the action takers. They've already decided that it's going to work for them. And then there's the other people that are debating it. They're saying, well, I don't know because I don't really have very much extra money. I don't have the time. Maybe I don't have the experience. I don't have the resources. Maybe I don't have the right contacts, or I don't know anyone in the business. I'm too scared to try something new. I failed too many times to try again. Guys, those are all excuses, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Those are just excuses, and they need to be washed away. They're not doing you any good. You have to be willing to get past excuses and be willing to improve yourself to get something different in return. All right, I'm going to go through this one more time. 30 days of step-by-step video instruction guide, 2 tickets to the Rehab School live seminar, group coaching calls, Flip Your Way to Freedom Facebook group, a value of $5,432. One more thing, old way versus new way. All right, who here right now has been told that they have to get a job, save for retirement, and retire and collect Social Security? That's the old way. Invest in a 401k, live below your means. That's the old way of doing things, guys. That's not the new economy that we live in right now. The new economy is building skill sets, building your skills that you can add value to in the market. All right, that's the new economy that we live in. If you're not improving yourself and adding value to yourself, then you're gonna get stuck behind. I'm just gonna tell you that. Invest into income producing assets once you get your cash up to a certain point, and increase your means and live how you dream. All right, we shouldn't be told to live below our means, at least not forever. We should be trying to increase our skills so we can increase our means, so we can increase where we live and what we get to do and where we get to go. So I want to ask you right now, what are you going to say goodbye to? What do you want to say goodbye to? Bills, debt, your job, frustration, lack of free time, maybe a lack of spendable income, a lack of travel and experiences, maybe a lack of sleep, a lack of purpose, a lack of family time. When I was in the position I was in before I got into real estate, it was several of these all grouped into one. There was a lot of things in my life that were causing me to be miserable, and real estate was my way out. And I'm hopeful that real estate will be your way out too, if you choose to see it that way. So guys, your life is simply a story, and you're the main character. So you get to decide right now if your story is going to be full of action and adventure, and success and abundance, taking action, taking some risks, doing things the way that you want, or if your story is going to be a daily routine that you don't enjoy, and later in life is going to be a bunch of what ifs or could haves or I wish I would haves. Guys, don't let that be your story. Create your story. The guys, the best stories are people that took action. You ever notice that? The best stories are always the action takers. Always. All right, so you got 2 choices. Invest in yourself and learn the skills necessary to create huge profits, or keep doing the same thing and keep getting the same results. There's 2 choices. That's all it comes down to. One more time, I'm going to give you the price. 30 days of step-by-step video instruction guide, $497 value, 2 tickets to the Rehab School live seminar, group coaching calls, and Flip Your Way to Freedom Facebook group for a value of $5,432. And I'm going to give it to you guys today for $297. I'm also going to give you a 100% 30-day no-risk guarantee. And here's what else I'm going to do. I don't even have this on here, but I was thinking about it, on the way in to do the webinar. And I'm like, man, how can I prompt people to take action so that they can change their lives? And I thought, you know what? what if I'm willing to pay you? What if I'll pay you to do this? Would you do it? Right? So a lot of you right now are probably debating, well, should I not? What if I was willing to pay you to do it? So here's my offer to you is if you take the action, if you do this and you take the action and you can secure a deal, what I want you to do is I want you to send me the pictures of it. I want you to send me you standing in front of the house, before and after, and I want you to send me a picture of you with your check. If you will do that, I'm going to send you a check back for $300. All right, so I'm going to pay you $3 to learn how to change your life through flipping houses. I can't think of a better offer, and I can't think of a better way to try to prompt you to take action, because I know what it's done for me, and to take me from being a bankrupt factory worker to be a real estate millionaire is a pretty cool success story. And if I can have any kind of part in helping other people do the same thing, then that would be such a massive blessing for you, but also for me, just to know that I had a part in doing that. So that's the best offer I can possibly give you. I'm willing to actually send you a check back for $300 once you do your deal and you send me proof of it. All right. So guys, if that's it, link is down here. If you were in it just for the profit spreadsheet, then here's the link for that. You can, I don't know if you can copy and paste it, but you can punch it into the URL. It should be there. And you guys feel free at this point to ask any questions. I'm going to be sticking around for about 15 minutes to help answer questions, and then we're going to be ending this. So I appreciate you guys' time so much, and I hope that I added enough value to you to see how amazing this business is, how much it can change your life, and that it's really not that difficult. That when you have the right tools in place and you have the right mentorship, that you can become successful in a relatively short amount of time. All right, guys, this is awesome. I have so many I'm readies. So all the I'm readies should have already taken action. They really should have. So if you haven't, you got to ask, are you really ready? So I can't see. I honestly I can't even see who's checking out right now. But I just want to say, you have all these people that are saying yes. Let's see here. I got probably dozens. Yeah, I got yes, thanks. I'm ready. I'm not quite ready. Well, all right, well, let's get ready. I'm ready. Yes, how do I get it? I need this. Let's do it. Awesome, great job. All right, cool. So it looks like a lot of action takers. So there's definitely gonna be some people taking action and making some differences in their lives, guys. I can't, there's nothing I like more than when I get testimonials, because I love knowing that somebody is taking the action and getting results in their lives. I had one of my friends that posted on their Facebook not too long ago that they did their first deal. Guys, seriously, practically brought tears to my eyes, because I'm so happy for that person, not just because they made a profit, but because I know that they're building their skill set to do it over and over and over again for the rest of their life. That's what gets me excited, because that's changing their family. That's going to change his ability to stay home with his kid, spend more time with his wife. That's the kind of stuff that absolutely gets me excited. Somebody asked, is this better in certain parts of the country than others? It depends. It works anywhere, because real estate is simply the art of finding great deals and flipping them over to people that want to buy the house. That's all it is. So the only thing I would say is, as long as there's enough inventory in your market, then it works anywhere. So if you live in a tiny little rural area, it might be a little bit tough. But what I would just suggest in that case is find the closest bigger city or the closest metro market and spend your time there. Is this a written course? This is all online. This is 100% online, so you don't have to have anything to read. It's all videos, 100% video content, along with all of the downloads, spreadsheets, everything like that. My web browser is telling me that the connection is not secure. Is the connection secure to enter my credit card? Yes, yes, it is. It is a completely secure website. We use both PayPal and Stripe, so 100% secure. Somebody says, assuming it's in Des Moines, the live event, yes, it will be in the Des Moines area. A date for the live seminar, we do not have it yet. I kind of had to see like how many people were going to be signing up so we could make sure we have the right amount of event space and stuff for this. So we don't have it yet, but we will be, after tonight, we will be working on probably coming up with that date within about the next 2 weeks. Somebody says it's $297. Can I make 4 payments? We do have a 2-pay option. Somebody says, can I do 3 to 4 flips a month working part-time? Yes, of course you can. In fact, that's basically exactly what I do. And here's the thing: is maybe you guys have saw my email about I used to be a subscriber to trying to do more deals than everybody else. Like I wanted to be doing like 20 deals a month, and I got to the point where I did like 23 deals a month was my highest month, and those were mostly wholesales. But I was working like crazy to do it, and the amount of transactions I had to do to reach my desired income was crazy. So I said, you know what? Here's what I want to make. Like my goal, guys, I'll just be honest. My goal for my business is $100,000 a month, and it's either flipping it or adding 100,000 net worth to my or increasing my net worth by 100,000. Whichever way it works out, I don't really care. I just know that if I'm making that, it's moving me forward a lot every single month. So I said, how can I do far less deals and still reach that? So it had to come down to putting together a strategy to have nice, profitable types of deals that I didn't have to do so many of. And that's exactly kind of how I came up with doing about 3 to 5 per month is what we average. And by doing it that way, like I don't have to be out searching so hard for so many different deals. My daily method of operations, which I cover in detail. In fact, I take you through in one of the videos, one of the last videos, I take you through my entirely daily method of operations of looking for my deals, and it takes about an hour and that's for the amount of deals that I do. So if you're going to do, 1 at a time, 2 at a time, it's going to be even less. You're going to be spending less time than I do. All right, I just checked. It looks like we've had several signups. So anybody that's on the fence, I'm not going to like grovel for your business. What I'm going to tell you is that anybody that knows me is I put my how do I say it? I go all out to produce the best that I can and to make people and to give people value. So you're not going to be disappointed. I can promise you that. And like I said, I got the guarantee there anyway, but you will not be disappointed with the information, and especially for the fact that you're going to be in a group where you have contact with me to be able to ask questions regularly. You will not be disappointed. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. Anybody that's still on the fence, I implore you to take action. You will not regret it. Once you learn how to do this business and you realize that you can flip houses in any part of the country at any time, guys, that's when life changes for you. Or even like I said, the average American right now, the average American household is like, what is it, like $55,000 income? When you can make $25,000 profits several times a year or once a year, I mean, for that type of income, once a year is going to change that family's life. It's going to take so much stress off of that household. So if you can do it once, then you can do it quarterly, which means at that point you're making $100,000 a year flipping houses. How would you like to be able to do whatever you wanted to do? Have your side business. What else? Work part-time. Donate your time at the church, whatever it is, and be able to have a side business that's making you $100,000 a year that you're spending a few hours a day on. Like that's the type of that's the American dream. And if you want to take it bigger from there, you go bigger. But for most people, if they could have a 6-figure income and do it part-time, that's the American dream, my friend. Guys, I'm shutting off. I'm going to get home, enjoy the family. Anybody that's on the fence, you guys go ahead and just take the action. You won't regret it. and I hope to see you on the inside. You guys should be getting all the details. So those of you that did sign up, you guys will be getting all the details sent directly to your email. You will get immediate action to the course to where you can go through any part that you want. And I will see you guys on the Facebook group hopefully tomorrow. You guys start asking questions, jumping in, and I have that course mapped out in a way to where it is literally going to take you step by step by step through the entire process. And if you are taking the action on those days and doing what it's requesting of you, you will be absolutely amazed at what's going to happen in your business in the next 30 days. So that is my guarantee to you. You will be absolutely amazed with it. So anyway, I can't wait to see you guys on the inside. Talk to you soon.